Hey folks, Ken McArthur, best-selling author of Impact, How to Get Noticed, Motivate Millions, and Make a Difference in a Noisy World, and you're at the Impact Perpetual Learning Series, and we've got a great webcast for you today. I'm really excited about talking to Kevin Nations. I've known Kevin Nations for a considerable length of time, and you're in for a treat because Kevin Nation knows a lot of stuff. He's the ultimate profit mentor, and he likes to have fun, and he likes leveraging money in the process. He's the man behind the scenes of some big ticket seminar promoters and coaches and consultants, and he really knows how to have an impact and impact your bottom line. So I'm excited about that. His strategies are basically designed to create the leverage and the focus to take clients through the six-figure monthly income barrier. I can't imagine that anybody wouldn't like to do 6 figures a month. And he consistently sells out his workshops where he sells end-to-end strategies. But beyond that, he sits on the U.S. Today Small Business Advisory Panel. He does all kinds of interesting things. He's written and co-authored a bunch of different books, and J. Conrad Levison says if you have a chance to learn from Kevin, don't miss it, so we aren't going to miss it tonight. Got lots of stuff going on in general. I did survive the hurricane. That's a wonderful thing. I spent some time down on my hands and knees on the floor of a flooding basement with a flashlight in the dark, trying to unhook about 11 servers and haul them up to higher ground. And then had some fun stuff with the well and cleaning out the swimming pool and doing all kinds of exciting stuff like that. But I am so lucky to be here. There are so many people that are so much worse off than I am. And I am just thrilled to be able to be here with you and to have a chance to talk with Kevin tonight. Let me just share a couple of other things that are going on in general. There, of course, is stuff on the blog always. You can go to kenmcarthur.com and get the latest news and ideas. We had a great talk with Tom Beal last week. If you missed that for any reason, you definitely want to check into that. Have the whole webcast recorded and online on the blog there. So Tom Beal talking about success and what it takes to do that. We've got some great list building resources. And a fun thing on how to publish your ebook on Amazon for Kindle. That's a great way to build leads and generate a little bit of income at the same time. And you definitely want to take a look at that. It turns out that it's pretty simple. The big thing I've got coming up next is the September 1st Day with Ken. That's this Thursday, and there are a few slots left as of this second. I've had emails and stuff all day long talking about people coming. You know, JV Alert Live events are fantastic. I really love JV Alert Live events because we have great people coming like Kevin Nations and Tracy Repchuk and Tom Beal and Mike Koenigs and Davin Michaels and Warren Whitlock and a whole slew of other people. And we just announced this week that Brad Simp is also coming to the event. So lots and lots of amazing people will be there. There will be lots of amazing people in the audience too. But the big problem with JV Alert for me personally is that, you know, with a larger group of people, I want to spend time with every single person who is there, and unfortunately I don't get a chance to do that very much because if you multiply out, you know, times 100 people or something like that, 125 people that might come to a JV Alert Live event, and I'd love to spend an hour with each one of them. Multiply that out, and that's 100 hours. And it just doesn't fit into the weekend, especially when you add some great presentations that I just don't want to miss and everything else that's going on. So what I have been doing for the last couple of months is a Day with Ken event, and they've been really spectacularly successful. I've enjoyed them so much because what we have is a maximum of 10 people. we get together and we talk about your project. There's no agenda. It's just great conversations, talking about anything you want to talk about, figuring out the best ways to maximize your results, and it's a lot of fun. So if you can possibly get to the Philadelphia suburbs on September 1st, that's this Thursday, click on that link on kenmcarthur.com for the September 1st Day with Ken event. Get signed up right now because that will be gone before you know it. And of course we have JV Alert Live coming up. And one final thing that I do want to mention for sure is that we still have the 90-day challenge going on for our fitness challenge, which is for our mental, physical, and financial fitness. We're doing great stuff. If you want to invite people to this webcast, the URL is up there on your screen right now. Ask people on Twitter or Facebook to join us right now. And if you're interested in the Facebook group, Zena Trainer is an amazing woman, and she's doing some wonderful things to help you with your physical fitness, and we're doing stuff with the Impact Partnering Program to help you along with your financial and mental fitness, so don't miss that stuff. That's pretty much it for the announcements, and I'm going to announce my good friend Kevin Nations. How you doing tonight, Kevin?
Awesome to be here, doing wonderful, and glad to finally join you again. You mentioned that I continue to have a number of seminars, and somehow coincidentally, they're now probably close to 3 years.
Yeah.
Most every JV Alert you've had, I've had an event on the same weekend for at least 2 years. And so it's great to have a chance to join you in San Diego, just down the street from my home there, and to be a part of the JV Alert Live again. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm thrilled to have you back. You know, you did a great presentation in Orlando the last time that we had.
That was like 100 years ago, right?
Yeah, and you know how long ago that
was great.
You know how long ago that was? I can tell you exactly because that was back probably the last time you ever wore a suit.
It was in 2008. It was in probably mid 2008.
Yeah.
So.
And that was fantastic. You know, I'm gonna ask you first, Kevin, about how you got your start because we started talking about the early days. You know, right here at the beginning. So tell me a little bit about how you got started.
Well, you know, so many people can talk about, and I hear them talking about the fact that they're building their infrastructure, they're building their, you know, websites. I hear people talking about, you know, just getting a blog started. And how I got my start was that I didn't really have an option other than to succeed, and to succeed well right away. I left the Navy. Goodness gracious, there's a picture of me in a suit on the webcast now. I don't even know this guy, but anyway, it's an amazing-looking guy, but just not me. I
put that up there just to drive you crazy.
And you know what, Ken? It worked. It's a handsome young fellow. It just doesn't look like me. But so for those of you who are watching this webcast now, look at the handsome young fellow just above the post for Tracy Repchuk. And that is the
that's the old
professionally suited gentleman, formerly or now known as Kevin Nation. So I left the Navy and went directly into sales. I've had a background in nuclear engineering, and so don't ask me how that qualifies me to do what I do now, but I've been really fortunate. People have been successful. Went right into sales and had a really great run for about 10 years after leaving the Navy. I worked in professional sales of high-tech computer equipment, telephony equipment, and grew my yearly sales up to the point where I was doing about $100 million a year in personal equipment and service sales. And really, though, and this will probably resonate with a lot of people here, hence the suit. You know, I had to go out and be professional every day. But another thing, you know, that suit represented a prison cell for me, and I'll tell you why. And for many of you who are just leaving a job of your own, this might resonate just a little bit, that the biggest attraction for me in this business is the opportunity not just to make a ton of money or the opportunity to be well known or to be recognized by the likes of Ken and Tracy and Tom and all the wonderful people who are coming and get acknowledgement and community with, those wonderful people. But it's a chance to be at choice in our real lives. And I was really well heralded in my professional community, was definitely one of the top salespeople in my company, and always was at the President's Club's trips and everything, had a great income. Many times my monthly commissions were up near the high 5-figure a month mark, low 6-figure a month mark, and sales commissions. But on a ball field here in Columbus, Ohio, my son was out playing softball, and I got called one day by some people at the office that were putting together a conference call well after business hours. And one of the things that I found on that call interesting is they said, we've got to get on this conference call. And I said, my son is out now, he's coming up to bat. I'm at a softball game. We can pick it up tomorrow. And they're like, no, it needs to happen right now. And I had just gotten one of the largest commission checks of my life. And just a few weeks, maybe even just a couple weeks after that, I had this call, and I realized, Ken, that no matter how much I continued to make, no matter how many trips I continued to win, and no matter how much money I continued to bring home to buy things and stuff, that I would never be at choice. And so a few weeks after that call, I went on a company-paid trip to Maui, and when I came back from that trip, I literally, the second day back from that trip, I left that company and started with a former salesperson who had worked for me at another telecom company. I started a staffing company, and we started building that up. So I thought I would get into choice and get away from the huge corporate environment, walked away from the large paycheck and everything that was happening there, and started a staffing company. We grew that up rather quickly. As a matter of fact, I looked recently at a newspaper clipping that was an article that was written and published about the time that I left and sold out of that company. And it said we had 146, I believe, employees at the time. So within a little bit over a year, I built up another company with over 100 employees. And that despite all of my efforts to be an entrepreneur, I had built a great income again, but I've built a great deal of complexity into that business. And so when I got an opportunity to get out of that, I fortunately got out, and I went to an event that's no longer held, but is very similar to JV Alert in some ways. I'm sure, Ken, you could spell out the differences, but since it's not running anymore, it's a lot like JV Alert. It's called the Big Seminar, and it was in San Francisco. I just found it online, didn't know anything about this wonderful business that we're now in. Flew to San Francisco a couple of days literally after I sold my business. I found out this event was being held, bought a ticket that day, was flying out the next day, got to San Francisco wide-eyed, completely unaware of anything about this industry, but I knew that I wanted to work from home and be at choice and be in choice. And so I literally was foolish enough, Ken, to believe that what the people there taught about and told me about and the successes they talked about from the stage, I believed the things that they shared from the stage. And I came back home and I was just naive enough to put into practice the things that they said I should do.
Isn't that a wonderful thing, being naive?
Naive and foolish can pay off sometimes. And so I began to build a really, really good income and began to do some group coaching, which I still now do, some group training and helping people with their sales. And then I held a live event where, this was back in 2004, held a live event where people paid $5,997 or $3 less than $6,000 a seat to come and learn some of the sales strategies and the coaching strategies that I was teaching. And interestingly enough, had a huge personal shift that I don't talk about much, and I decided to talk about it on this call. On literally 2 days before that event began on a Friday, the first time I'd ever held an event in my life in this industry. I'd only been to maybe 2 of them, which was this big seminar and Yannick Silver's 30th anniversary bash in Orlando, Florida. So we know how long ago that was.
Yep.
And so I held this event of my own. Everybody was coming into Columbus, Ohio from the UK and from Canada, and there were several people coming in for this event. And 2 days before the commencement of my first live event that I was ever going to hold, my wife of 16 years left.
Mm.
And so what happened after that, along with all of the personal choices and things that went with that, was that I realized at that moment that I had to make this business work. I didn't really have a choice. I, had a great income history, so I had a significant support that I needed to continue to pay. That wasn't really optional. I had also, I had 2 awesome kids, and I didn't want to turn myself back into the scenario where I was working at a job and being mandated to go there. And so I made a decision that I was going to create a business that would give me the opportunity to be at choice with my time, not have the mandate of a lot of employees, have the simplicity that somebody like me could understand and run it with one assistant as I grew, a simple business with one assistant, and that would generate for me the income that was necessary to maintain the lifestyle that I'd done. So I ran everything through. A few simple filters was, can I do this? Can I be at choice? Can I work when and where I want to? And can I make the kind of income that I need to make to sustain my quality of life? And if you're on this call tonight, I'll tell you that if you aren't, and we'll get into some of the specific business reasons, and I'm very, very focused at times when I talk about this, because a lot of the reasons that many of us are not making the incomes that we believe that we should be making is that we've just not eliminated the possibility that we not make those. There's been a tremendous challenge with what's been called the law of attraction movement, in that it does us a huge favor in that law of attraction tends to talk about setting lofty goals. And so we begin to raise our ceilings of possibility and raise our visibility into the possibility of what our lives can hold. And we get into groups such as being on a call like this, and we begin to dream big dreams. We go to events like JV Alert, and we see the possibilities. We begin to be open to, other things. So we have our vision expanded vertically. We start seeing bigger and bigger things. But what happens is that we don't begin to raise the floor of our lives, which is the minimum that we will accept. And what we create is a life where we have the vision of amazing grandeur while we're still walking around in shit. Mm. And so my challenge to you on this call is, additionally to the growth opportunity for raising your vision of what's possible and creating goals for what's possible, one of the things, along with all of the techniques and teachings and trainings that the people who are at JV Alert and who Ken brings onto these calls will teach you, along with those technical things, the most important thing that you can do is to raise the minimum that you will expect from your life in the area of time, in the area of, I talk about the fabric of life, of faith, family, of fitness, of finances, and raise that floor and say, okay, it's awesome to have, high, lofty goals, but I will not accept a life that doesn't give me at least a baseline of this. And then you begin to move from what I talk about, Ken, is there is a gap between many people who say, I did everything that I could, and it really is the cry of a loser. A loser says, I did everything I could. A winner, just beyond doing everything you can, there's a place called doing whatever it takes. And a winner has the persistence and the tenacity to move from what the best that they could do to whatever it takes. And between those two spaces, boys and girls, is where success lies. And so, you know, we're going to chat about that today. So my history was I continued to build this business. I've been doing the same thing, the same boring exact thing with very little shifts or modifications for, you know, now since probably late 05 or early 06, Ken. So it's just been, as many people have watched them launch brand new exciting opportunities and, you know, new things that they're doing and getting into this new field and that new field and a bunch of other fields. And I'm still teaching exactly the same thing I was teaching when I wore a suit.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. I mean, here's a question for you, because you know you're really famous, and I've actually been through the experience of talking to you on the phone when we first met. You're pretty amazing, you know, for getting those high level fees and teaching other people how to get what they're worth, you know. So how can somebody start from the beginning charging the highest fees that are possible?
Well, it's amazing when you said how can people start charging what they're worth. I have people ask me that, you know, how can I really start charging what I'm worth, Kevin? And interestingly enough, I mean, the feedback, Ken, is they are.
Yeah.
You know, so there isn't some conspiracy that happened in heaven if, you know, you're one of those who believes in like a literal God, or there's no conspiracy that happened in the forces of the universe, or however you believe that, you know, universal laws are created and then delivered to us. There's not been any conspiracy. So whatever you're charging today is precisely what you're worth, like not a penny less and not a penny more. And that's really a challenge for some people, because they say, well, how can I charge what I'm worth? I know I'm worth more. And the response is, you know, oh, unfortunately, you're not. So, you know, when I share that, it causes a lot of pushback, and even internally for me, because I get this understanding from people, and I get this realization when I talk to them about what they do, like this gift that they have. And whether it's helping someone lose weight, or helping someone build a sustainable relationship, or helping someone with this marketing strategy or this sales technique, or whatever it is that they know how to do, their gift, the thing that they're awesome at. And so that's their contribution to the world, and many people continue to work on that. They continue to study in that. They keep perfecting it. And the challenge is that our value is not simply a factor of our contribution. You know, if our value was a factor of our contribution, the smartest people in the world would be the richest people in the world. And the people who created and invented things would be, you know, more wealthy than the people who distributed them, and so forth and so on. And this training that I've gotten in becoming a nuclear engineer would have been worth something. But anyway.
That's like Sterling Valentine's quotation about librarians. You know, if knowledge were power, librarians would rule the world.
Absolutely. So there's more than your contribution, and I would submit, if you're on this call today and you've really got something that you know you're good at, you've probably worked enough on your contribution for a while, and you could kick back on that. Most of us really, really have this internal desire to do good, and so we've really worked on our area of contribution. But if your value really isn't your contribution, then, you know, what is it comprised of? And so the things that I've found that really, really make up your value, your contribution obviously is very, very important. Interestingly enough, though, you know, the thing that you do really is not what helps you make any money. The thing that you do is what helps you keep from getting refunds and stay in business and have a great reputation. What really creates the cash flow for you, reputation, what really creates the cash flow for you, how we help people understand that value. And then, quite simply, in a total business sense, our commitment to taking action. And so many people have perhaps not this huge commitment to taking action, and so it becomes incredibly challenging for them, even if they have really, really powerful ideas. If they don't act on them, they don't profit from them. And we really do need to develop a communication that is worthy of our contribution, and that comes from understanding what it costs someone not to experience our work. And so I would encourage you, even before you come to San Diego, if you're on the way or as you're leaving this call today, one of the things that I would begin to jot down and journal is what your service is worth, what the outcome of your service is worth in the experience of your clients, and more importantly, what failing to get that is going to, how failing to get that is going to impact someone, and what failing to get that outcome would do to cause someone's life to, what specifically is going to be the impact, and then at some point you're going to need to take it to financial, even if it's what they think that would be worth, or what they may choose to spend to avoid that pain. It may not be a specific parallel, but if there's some terrible outcome in the area of their relationship or their health or whatever, what someone might reasonably pay to avoid that. Your question, Ken?
So that's if you applied that to your experience, what would the cost have been if you had not shown up at your first live event there?
Well, it would never have had another one.
Yeah.
I mean, it really wouldn't have. I would have continued to, or perhaps not for a long, long time. I had never even considered that question, but there wasn't really a question of what to do. It was what I had committed to do. And I think Tom Bill wrote a credo today, and I know he's going to be there with me. And I'm a huge, huge Tom Bill fan. I really think that dude is an amazing, amazing soul and a great marketer. And one of the things he wrote in a credo that I saw posted today was, "Do what you say that you're going to do."
Yeah.
And once again, this isn't moving from the best that you can do to whatever it takes. Many people would have excused, if I had wanted an excuse to reschedule or give a refund or ask people to reschedule, would have excused based on the circumstances not showing up, but it just wasn't ever a consideration. I had literally made a promise to I think there were 12 people at that first event, which seems small, but if you think about it, at 6,000 each, it wasn't that bad a weekend. So when we talk about having people invest significantly, you don't need to have that many clients to generate a tremendous income for yourself, and you can work really powerfully to make that happen. But the recipe is really take that contribution you have, develop a communication strategy that is worthy of it, find out what it's costing people not to experience your work, and then be committed to getting that opportunity to choose in front of as many people as possible, or at least as many people as is necessary to meet your goals for delivering your contribution and obviously getting your revenue.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic input, and really makes a difference. What are go ahead.
Go ahead. So many people want to defend their fees and prices based on how hard they've worked, or how much effort they've put in, or how much information they've accumulated or assimilated, or who they've collaborated with to get it. And really, that doesn't make a difference in anyone's lives. It makes maybe their egos serve, but it doesn't serve their outcomes. And so you really want to look, at the end of the day, at what the change was in someone's life, and if your work really makes that change, then they're not going to avoid someone who really cares about themselves once they see the opportunity to fix or correct whatever area of their life that your service, your product, your teaching, your coaching, your consulting changes. Once they see that, they're not going to revert back to that if they really care about themselves and they see the value, and you give them the opportunity to fix or to remedy the thing that they're trying to fix. They're going to invest the money. let you help them get to the solution and move on.
You know, you've had a lot of success with your clients. I've been privileged to watch it over the years with some people that I know that have worked with you and just made tremendous gains. What's the biggest thing you've seen in your clients becoming successful? What's the biggest factor there?
You know, again, the biggest thing is to take action on something. You know, I do have some fairly direct quotes, and one of the quotes that is hammer into my clients is that winners take imperfect action. While I'll just use the L word on this public call, you guys haven't paid to become a client and get harassed at this level, but you're here, so I guess so be it. While losers are still writing perfect plans, and you know, you and I have both seen as we've continued in this industry, we've seen people who have literally come perhaps from obscurity and with a choice and a decision to take action, and sometimes it wasn't even the most attractive action.
Yep.
Taking those and started to escalate up and up and up and up because they could just continue to take action after action, while I'll just make the judgment, while people who are much smarter than them and who probably know more about the actions that they took than them are continuing to belabor which task to take next. And so one of the things that I just formed a new mastermind group at an event in Las Vegas about 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and you know, one of my mastermind enrollees was talking to me about building this complicated system, and as she shared, you know, all the things that she was looking to do with the autoresponder and the lead capture page and all these things, you know, I asked her, I said, you know, what is your circle of influence on your personal sphere of influence? And she was telling me, you know, she was really well known. I knew that. I said, go get a client, a client to give you a price to deliver what you can do for them. And once you get a client, then once you get a second client, so that you just know it's not a fluke. Once you get that, then you can start orchestrating this complexity.
Yeah.
Got a 3-step formula to get incredibly, incredibly rich. And if you will follow this formula, if you're just getting started, it'll probably serve you better as a overlay for all of the stuff that you do than many others. The first step in the formula is to find out what is your monthly nut, monthly cash flow requirements, monthly minimum cash flow requirement, whatever you want to call it. What is your monthly nut? What is the number below which you have to take out of savings, go back to that credit card that the balance keeps going up and your limit keeps declining in today's market? The number below which you can't make your bills. Find out that number. Get that number to a point that's it's manageable for you by paying some things off, whatever, and find that number and try not to raise that number, that standard of living, and do anything possible to make that. You know, I talk about group coaching and everything, but do not build grandiose business plans until you come into this business and do anything possible to make your monthly minimum cash flow requirements.
Yeah.
Second step is, don't try to make any more money than that. Stop right there and leverage your business to the point where you are doing as little work as possible while still making that amount of money. Once you've done that, boys and girls, you're rich, because when you can make and exceed your monthly cash flow requirements without really working at all, then you can continue to leverage. You have that set aside. You're operating from a position of abundance rather than one of, you know, lack, fear, and recovery, and trying to work out of a position of, you know, how to stave off fear, stave off lack, stave off all those base requirements. And you can begin to leverage. The two challenges that I see that people make are, in the beginning, they try to create leverage before they even have you know, any force or weight or cash to create leverage with.
Yeah.
And leveraging a business when you have no cash flow is just, once again, a direct Kevin, this is a dumbass idea. There's no reason to leverage a business when you have no cash flow. You should not build leverage in your business when you have no cash flow. You build cash flow.
That's like automating failure.
Exactly. And so I've watched people that have all of these automation tools and not a single penny in revenue. I'm like, what the hell are you doing? So the next step, though, is, guys, when you get to that level where, and you know what that is, whether it's 3,000, 5,000, 10,000, whatever your monthly number is, at the point that you reach that, without trying to just burn the midnight oil and continue to make more and more and more, take a minute, stop, take a look at your life from that position of continuing to make your monthly income and start working at that point, setting up and building the leverage that you need to have a consistent, sustainable, growing business that does not require a ton of your time to stay moving. And once you have those two pieces in place, the ongoing prognosis for your business and for your financial future is pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, you know, there are a lot of people out there that have been struggling forever. You know, I see it at JV Alert Live all the time. You know, that there are people who go on to tremendous success, and there are people that just seem to be staying in the same spot year after year. So what are the 3 reasons that you have for people that are not profitable?
Well, there's actually 4. And well, the 4th one, though, is kind of interesting, so I'll give you all 4 of them. So
okay.
3 plus a bonus.
All right.
So the first reason is the first reason people aren't profitable is that they don't have a plan.
Yep.
And this is people who come into, let's just say, people who come into an internet marketing event and buy a how to sell real estate course because somebody sells well from the stage.
Yeah.
You know, so before you go to JV Alert, my feedback for you, and there'll be people there who'll be selling stuff. If you go to other events, there'll be people there who'll be selling stuff. I'm going to tell you right now, with 100% accuracy, how to decide who to buy from at Ken's or any event. Sorry for all the speakers that are coming, including me. It might take a little wind out of everyone's sales, might have put a little wind in other people's sales, but here, you that are smart, this is what you need to do. You need to lay out your plan of the business that you have, lay out your map, and find out what you have solidly in place, what you don't have solidly in place, and look at it from, you know, cash flow. We'll talk about that in just a minute, an overall plan. And when you listen to someone speak from the stage, you should research everybody who's going as well and kind of have an idea of who has a missing piece and be there to listen to them. So don't go completely blind. Ken's got a whole list of the presenters and the panelists, and so go find out who those are. Know who you're going to talk to, know who you're going to pursue, rather than just waiting for see what they're going to present.
Yeah.
Once you hear the presentation, if it fills a gap that you know that your business needs to move forward and it sounds like it's congruent with your goals, buy it no matter what the cost or investment is. The higher the better, because you're going to most likely get more interaction and feedback from that person. If it doesn't fit into your plan for your business and you can't see how it furthers your existing business as you've had a plan, then avoid it no matter how persuasive the person is, because it's just not going to work for you, or it's going to cause you to revisit your plan. Every time you revisit your plan, you lose momentum.
Yeah.
So there's number 1. People that don't have a plan. Number 2, so you know what you invest to be different based on what your goals are, and the reason that Ken has different speakers is people have different gaps and different things they're looking for. The number 2 is their plan sucks. I mean, guys, if you are selling your services for $100 an hour and you want to make $20,000 a month, your plan sucks. You're not going to be able to bill off, 200 hours in a month and still have a consistent lifestyle. So, you know, many people just have a plan that sucks. And number 3 is your execution sucks, meaning that you're doing everything possible. Many people do everything possible to complicate something so that they can keep from taking action on the simple things that would make them their first sale.
Yeah.
So the 3 steps are either that people have no plan, their plan sucks, or their execution sucks. And the 4th reason that people fail is they think that it's possible, somehow humanly possible, that they are the exception and that it is something other than number 1 through 3. No, that it's something other than 1 through 3. Because it is only it is, if you are not earning the profits that you deserve, you need to ask yourself which of the three that I just stated, because there are no exceptions. If you have a plan and your plan is sound and you're executing that plan soundly, you will be profiting. And so if you are not profiting, either you don't have a plan, and if you do have a plan and you're not making the profits, you need to find out if your plan sucks or if your execution sucks. It is one or the other. It is not anything else.
Yeah, great advice there. So I hope you guys wrote that all down. Or I hope you come back to JV Alert Live in San Diego and see what other ideas he's got.
Would say your plan sucks? JV Alert Live. That's what I want to teach you. Your plan sucks. No, I'm not. I'm going to give you guys some great stuff. Hopefully this tonight will help you. This stuff tonight sounds a little direct, but if you put this stuff into place, it'll get past some of the lofty, flowery words. And if you look at some of this, you'll make some money with it.
You know, we need that direct approach, and sometimes people just have to step up to the plate and say, hey, you know, there's stuff you need to do. There's stuff you need to execute on. There's stuff you need to complete. And if you don't do that stuff, you aren't going to be successful.
And your kids aren't going to eat. And, you know, like our kids and our families and all these stuff is way more important than being heralded as a genius and a winner in the eyes of Ken or me or Tom or any of the other great guys that are coming. You know, we have a responsibility to our, you know, this thing that we're doing, this internet marketing thing or this, you know, coaching thing that we're doing, from my view, is a vehicle to support our real life. It is part of our, obviously, our development and delivery of our contribution, which is a key importance. But I, you know, challenge all of us, including myself daily, to not think that this is our life. This is a factor of our life. It's a function of our life. It facilitates things, but our life does not consist of you know, Ken McArthur thinking we're cool or Kevin Nation thinking we're cool or being promoted by somebody. Our life consists of whatever's really going on, and all of this is just a means by which we can support and further the real stuff.
So what can people do right now, you know, to start building a profitable business?
Make a sale. Make a sale. If you have not yet made a sale of anything, tomorrow stop working on any complexity that you have. Determine, you know, what is going on in the needs of people that you can solve, and find somebody and make a sale. Breaking that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, just had to jump in on that one because that's the exact same conversation that Frank Sousa and I had the night that we went out to dinner to celebrate his sale of his percentage of Traffic Geyser, which was multiple millions. And we were talking about what's the difference between the people who have been coming to JV Alert Live for years and the people who are having amazing successes. And we decided that night that the most obvious difference between them is that the people who were really successful made their first sale. You know, whether it was $1 or not.
I've been around a long time, and we've watched the dumb, humble beginnings of the people who are now superstars.
Oh, yeah.
You know, including myself. You know, 12 people in a room went out to Sam's Club and bought chips and put them in the back of the room, and sodas. Didn't have a big conference room. Held it in my, I had one of those executive offices where you share a receptionist at the time, and this was their conference room. And so I say it was a sold-out event, but it was only a 12-person conference room, you know. And so it wasn't even, I didn't have hotel, you know, contracts. There were 3 hotels within walking distance, and so I just gave those things out. I didn't know anything about what is now done, and I didn't have a website. I didn't have, I had an autoresponder, I think at the time. I might have bought AWeber, but I may have had only like 150 names or 200 names in it. I didn't have an online merchant account. I'd gotten a merchant account through my local bank that did my business banking, and they phone verified every order because I didn't swipe them. So every time somebody spent, you know, $6,000 with me, they would call them and say, you know, hi, this is Jane Doe over at the Huntington Bank of Columbus, Ohio. Are you sure you wanted to spend that money with that guy yesterday? And, you know, all of the things that people are now building and putting into place before they make any revenue,
Yep.
you know, which is awesome, the tools that we have. But you guys would be shocked if you knew the silly, humble beginnings of the people who are, you know, now looked at as, you know, pillars in the industry. And it's not just, you know, the old timers. There's been people, you know, you watched Ken Brendan grow, you know, and come fairly recently into this industry and grow, you know, part of it through is some exposure at JV Alert and some of the things that you guys did, and then just, you know, continue to escalate up his scope and everything that he did. But he made a sale in the beginning, and then just continued to grow up from there.
Exactly right. Exactly
Mm-hmm.
right. So we're getting close. We got about another 14 minutes or so. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to teach in San Diego.
You know, what I thought I would do in San Diego, I've done this at my paid events where people have come. What I thought I would do in San Diego is just dissect like a 20 grand a month, a 50 grand a month, and a 100 grand a month business, and show people exactly what to do with those. Those seem like three. Maybe I'll do 10, 50, and 100. Those seem like things that you know, would make sense to people, and show them, given the skills that I have. Obviously, there's other ways to build those types of businesses, but give people the exact breakdown of what to do when they leave San Diego to go home and to build a, I don't know if I can teach them how to build a 10 grand a month business. Let's just do 20 and 50 and 100. 20 grand a month, 50 grand a month, 100 grand a month, what they need to do, where to go get the leads for them, how to build their offers. There's really 4 pillars that I know of in building a business that if you have these 4 pillars covered, you do pretty well. And that is find out, you know, what your offer is in terms of what the outcome people get.
Yeah.
Kind of break down that, help them, walk them through that, talk to them about how to communicate that to someone, how to get leads for it, and then also how to set up their service delivery so it is leveraged. And, you know, for those of you, just so that you guys can see the kind of leverage I'm talking about, I run right now like a coaching and consulting business where I interact with people and build work with them. And I can grow to probably about 500, and I'm not there yet, but I can grow to about $550,000 a month with only doing about 3 hours a week of service delivery. And so that's my next, when I get to about that, I have to double to 6. And so when I get above about $500,000 a month, I need to go to 6 hours a week of service delivery. And so if you think about that, and so that leaves a lot of time for business building and for, you know, working on sales and marketing. And those of us who are, you know, giving away our service delivery time because we feel like that's what people, you know, want and need. And this includes me being interactive with everybody as well. So just something to focus on, those 4 pillars, which is what is your offer, how are you defining your value, what is your conversion conversation, whether it's a web page or speaking from the stage or one-on-one on the phone or whatever, developing that so that at the point of conversion you can bring people over. Then setting up the, I would actually set up at that point too, then your, what I call your LSD, your leveraged service delivery model, so that you know that as you bring people on, you're not going to keep adding on one-on-one time. And then finally, then setting up with people how to move the right amount of leads through so that you keep that engine fueled. So many people, I think the big challenge is they go out and they start this lead generation game without really knowing how they're going to serve the people in a leveraged fashion, and without knowing how they're going to convert them and at what price. And that can be a challenge, getting those out of order.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm going to teach in San Diego. Just I'll map those out: 20, 50, and 100. 20, 50, and 100 plan. We'll talk about from the
I
in
love
place how to build those.
I love that kind of inside look at things, really breaking down how businesses like that actually work in practice. And I also love the idea of, starting with the end in mind. Most people have no idea where they're going, and so, if we were going off on a journey across the world or something like that, we'd hopefully at least have a general kind of a map, and so many people start without a map and just kind of head for whatever bright shiny object seems to be interesting at the time. And I know that you really stress having those important pillars in place so that you can get the results that you hopefully plan for.
Mm-hmm. I would agree.
I've got a bonus question for you here because
Sure,
Jason Anderson's been on here and making some great contents, and he said that the call is actually making a tremendous difference in his life today, and I appreciate those kind of comments because for those of you who don't know me that well, the reason I do this stuff is because I love seeing people's lives change. I love impacting people. I guess that's why I wrote a book called Impact, because I love that factor of how we can expand our horizons, look at new possibilities, and how we can help each other out. So I really appreciate that, Jason. Appreciate the feedback. That kind of validates, what I'm doing every day with my life. Jason asked at the very beginning, he's saying, when you're nobody, what did you do to attract attention? Everybody needs help and exposure. Who was the most directly influential to you? Ken, he was asking. And I'll answer that really, really quickly and just say that the first thing I did to attract attention was your customers exist somewhere right now. And most likely they're grouped together in clumps and they're listening to somebody. So what I did was I asked the question, where are my customers right now, and who do they know, like, and trust, and how can I build a relationship with those people? And the person that happened to have all of the customers that I hoped to reach was a guy by the name of Jim Daniels. And out of that, we built a great little website that was in the top 3,000 sites on the internet for years. What I did was really focus on where are my customers right now and who's listening to them, because I figure if you have nobody, if you have no customers, what you need to do is to focus in on where those customers are right now and finding the people that actually have that relationship that you can leverage. So if you don't have your own list of clients right now, come to some place like JV Alert. Meet the people there, establish those relationships like Tom Beal was talking about, to give solid value, to do what you say you're going to do, to under-promise and over-deliver. Those kinds of things will make you stand out at some place like JV Alert. I know that Kevin looks for those kind of people all the time because they're rare, to be honest with you. And so that's my quick feedback. But what about you, Kevin? What do you think? When you were nobody, and I know you were never nobody, what did you do to attract attention?
Well, the attention, you got to decide, and this would be a great closing answer. If I must say so myself, it sounded very self-promoting. But anyway, it's a great closing answer, make a big difference in you guys' lives. And I challenge you, when we're off here today, to go write down, if you're going to take the time to listen to Ken and I for an hour, take an extra 10 minutes to write down what the hell you're going to do with what you learned for the last hour. Otherwise, your hour was wasted. So let me tell you, you've got an hour-long call totally wasted, unless you'll take like 5 or 10 minutes to write down what you're going to do with what you've learned. So an hour and 10 minutes, an hour of the call, 10 minutes of what you're going to do, great use of time. Hour of listening to us and nodding your head and saying that was great, complete waste of time. Might even bring you frustration. So what I really would encourage you, you said Jason was his first name?
Yeah, Jason Anderson.
Jason. So first of all, thanks, dude, for all your comments. What I really encourage you and everyone else to do here is to stop worrying about who you are, because nobody's going to ever give a crap anyway. All right? So nobody really cares about Ken except that he helps them. Nobody really cares about me except that I help them in certain ways. And so many people are trying to become someone in the eyes of someone else, but people don't pay for ego nearly as consistently as people pay for help. Think about your neighborhood, you know, the car repair shop that you drive by every day. I mean, who owns that? You may not know, but that's where you want to go. Think about your neighborhood, your favorite restaurant. You may not know the proprietor of it, but that's where you go when you're hungry and want good food. So if you get over the need to say I am and as you're meeting people at JV Alert, and if you were on this call and I hear you saying this, someone look at you and say, what did you just say? So if you introduce yourself to people, and you know, our natural tendency, we want to say, I am an SEO expert, or I am a life coach, or I am the creator of this, or I am the author of this book, and to get over your damn self, okay, and learn to introduce yourself as I help. So when people say, you know, what is it you guys do, and everybody's around saying, I am this, and then you want to listen to your audience, and then you say, you know, if there's a fit, you say, I help people, you know, I help entrepreneurs just like you guys who are struggling to make their busy lives work, you know, develop a schedule that doesn't have them being so frustrated. And if they can delegate to a small team and whatever, see, that's not even making more money. Or I help them, you know, develop a schedule so they have more time to spend with their kids so they can be more connected to their families. And when you learn to, and so then you can say, hey, do you ever know of anybody that could use help in that area? I'd be glad to help them out. What that does is completely disarms the people that you're talking to, and it's not as if you're seeking for validation, but just offering to help. And then from that, you can develop some conversations where you can further find out what it's costing them specifically not to have that help and make them an offer. The biggest thing that I would do, instead of saying when you were a nobody, you may be a nobody because you're looking possibly, to Jason, to being an I am in this community. And it might take a while before someone says that you are something. And so just move past that and realize that even after people say that, you're not going to make that much money just for that. You're going to make money because if that's your real goal, is to profit and take that back to your real life, as we talked about. Just make all of your conversations about I help, and when you know what you can do, and when there is a group of people, as Ken said, you get in proximity of people who you can help, then go do that, and then deliver like crazy for your clients. Yeah. My first clients, I literally would go to multi-speaker events or go to events where I knew that my clients were there, and just have my clients introduce me to their friends because I knew I'd made a big difference in their lives, and they would share that. And that's how I, really got a lot of my start, was just after, the first 6 months or so. If I'd have 2 or 3, I would decide where I was going based on having 2 or 3 clients there, and then I would just hang out with my clients, and they would introduce me to other people and say, this is the guy who, here comes that word again, helped me do this. And then the other people would say, hey, can you help me too?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
That's my 2 cents there, Ken.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for being here, Kevin. It was a great time. Felicia Slattery's online saying hi to you, and I know I
love that lady. She is so awesome, and I think she's got some big launch coming up. So if you guys should Google Felicia Slattery, and if you ever want to speak from the stage or become on one of Ken's stages or anything like that, you could do much worse than following Felicia and finding out her stage speaking stuff, and it'll help you a whole lot.
Yeah, absolutely. She's a treasure, and so many great people going to be in San Diego. I'm really excited about it. Michael Koenigs is going to be there. He's just an amazing guy. If you stop and think about all the different things that he's done, including Traffic Geyser and Main Street marketing, and he does so many things beyond that too. Tom Beal, of course, which both Kevin and I are in the Tom Beal fan club for many years. Tracy Repchek's going to be there. Simon Leung's going to be there. Glenn Dietzel's going to be there. Frank Sousa is going to be there. Davin Michaels, Scott Patton, he's a treasure. Warren Whitlock, Sohail Khan, Brad Simp's going to be there. Just, a whole slew of different people, lots of others too. You can do a heck of a lot worse than hanging out with those folks, I'll tell you for sure. So many people have gotten amazing starts at JV Alert Live. It's a chance for you to have some special things happen. You know, I really encourage you to do the hot seat. If you haven't done a hot seat, take advantage of that, because we can put your projects in front of a world-class panel. If there is anything that you can do to get to JV Alert Live in San Diego, then make it happen. And if I can help you in any way, get there, just send me an email at ken@jvalert.com, and I'll do anything that I can possibly do to help you to be there, because I believe that it changes lives. I mean, hanging around people like Kevin Nations and the other fine folks that are going to be there is life-changing, whether you want it to be or not. Let it lift your spirits. Let it get you geared up. Let it get you away from the naysayers that are telling you that you can't do things, and realize that you have so much potential and so many different options. The options for you are almost limitless, and I love to have you see that. If you can't make it out to San Diego and you can make it to Philadelphia on Thursday, we're in the suburbs of Philadelphia, just go to kenmcarthur.com and look up the information on that. I would love to have you be a part of the Day with Ken event that we're doing on Thursday. And if you're interested in being involved with the community of people that that come to the JV Alert Live events and all the ongoing coaching programs that we've got, and networking together, maintaining that relationship from event to event, definitely check out the impactfactor.com, because that's another great place that you can connect up with us. Almost everything that I'm doing these days is running through the impactfactor.com and the Impact Partnering Program, which is kind of the culmination of everything that I've done with JV Alert, the Impact events, and so much more. So check that out. If you aren't involved now, get involved. Thanks everybody for being here, and everybody have a great night. Thanks so much.